Welcome to Hawthorne Den, where we kick off the second half of the season with a local derby and league game between Lasswade and East Lothian rivals Haddington. The Christmas break has given both these teams time to reflect on the remaining league games, and with Lasswade hanging on to the coattails of Murrayfield Wanderers, who currently occupy the 5th spot, and Lasswade will undoubtedly have their eyes on that. For Haddington, who sits second bottom above Morgan, avoiding relegation is paramount, and the remaining matches will be everything to them. But ironically, both teams will be looking to this game as a real opportunity to grab points. We hand over to Scott Tomlinson, who takes charge for the next 80 minutes. Haddington throw in 5 metres off Lasswade's try line. Ball's taken in. And then forwards consolidate. Bit of a drive on there, but Lasswade's valiant in defence. Ball goes to ground though. And Crichton's asking to dig it out. The ball goes to ground again. Right on Lasswade's try line. Can't be far to go now. And that's the ball picked up by Gary Coburn, and that's a try. First try is first blood this afternoon for Haddington, with a try right on the 5-minute mark against Lasswade. And Nick Bell charged with the responsibility of adding the extras. Kicking from the right hand side of the park. He's a left footed kicker though, so it's his right hand side. It's the correct side for him. Should be easy. And he sets himself up, strokes it nicely, and it looks fairly routine, and it's good enough for the touch judges and the ref. So that's Haddington 7, Lasswade 0. Davis throws the ball in. Haddington take, ball to Crichton. And that was Monu just crashing it up there. Davis takes the ball on again and trucks it up the park. And Crichton feeds it back out to Alan Laidlaw, who takes it back into Lasswade forwards. Crichton pops the ball back out again to Bell. And Neil Watt, the captain, getting in the action, coming in on the crash. Haddington still in possession though, and Lasswade coming over the top, so far staying on their feet. Or not, as the case may be, and Scott Tomlinson has decided that they weren't. So blows up, and Haddington's got an opportunity of a penalty here just outside Lasswade's 22. And Gav Brown just making sure that's what it's for, nothing else. So Nick Bell, left hand side of the park, strikes it beautifully. Oh, and that's a great kick, straight between the sticks. So the score's now Haddington 10, Lasswade 0. Ball comes back out. Haddington in possession, just outside. Oh. Scott Tomlinson's blown up. He's seen something he didn't like. Oh, and a wee bit of back chat there from Lasswade. I'll not do them any good. He's just marched them back another 10 metres. And they're right in the green zone now. An opportunity again for Nick Bell. And he just adds the extras again. Another 3 points. So Haddington's starting to streak away. It's 13 points to 0. A scrum on Haddington's 5 metre line. And Neil Clark in possession. Lasswade's put in. It's a good scrum there, a good solid scrum from Lasswade. Ball's back to Gavin Brown's feet. He just pops it up to Neil Clark. It's a fairly scrappy hand back, right enough. And the Haddington boys quick to get on top of Neil Clark, but Lasswade's still in possession. The ball's fed out to Quigley. He gets the ball out to tackle to Bernie Hennessy. Bernie's wrapped up by the opposition. He goes to the ground. Lasswade's still in possession, they're still making the yards. Gav Brown feeds to Russell Gladson. Gladson to Elliott. Elliott goes to the ground. Lasswade's there in numbers. Heron picks and goes, but he's tied up as well. Stays on his feet though, stays strong. And the Lasswade boys are there to usher him across the park. Lasswade's still in possession, but they're going sideways instead of forward at the moment. But the ball goes to ground, and they're still in possession. And Russell Gladson's there to dig it out, which he ably does. Out to Dale Robertson, who trucks up the park, takes 2 or 3 boys with him. Gladson's still in the 9 position, standing in for Clark. He pops the ball back out to Hennessy, who feeds out Blackwood. And Blackwood's lovely ball on the outside, and Clark steps inside 1, steps inside 2, and he's unchallenged across the line. And Lasswade get themselves on the scoreboard this afternoon with Neil Clark scoring a try there. I'll be pretty happy with that, I would think. And Gavin Brown's got an opportunity to make it 7 points, just to the left of the upright, and that's no problem to him either. So both kickers doing pretty well so far. Cal Davis to throw in. And it's taken by Matt Legg to Crichton and to Monu. Oh, look at the crash, lovely angle, steps inside Gladstone, and he's only got Niall Gray to beat, which he does on the inside, and crashes over for a beautiful individual effort. What a lovely angle running there from the New Zealander. A missed one ball from Crichton out to Monu in the centre. He ran a lovely angle, he straightened up the Lasswade backs and stepped inside them, and the rest was history. So Bell here with the conversion attempt just to the right of the post on the 22. So far hasn't been a problem for him, he's been pretty good, pretty handy with the boot. And there's another one. It's a good start warning for Lasswade. You can't afford to let these guys within the green zone. Lasswade throw in. Turnbull throws in to Hearn. Lasswade's inside Haddington's 22, driving up the 15-metre line. Haddington forward, shepherding them back pretty well though. And Lasswade's recycling pretty well. And Mark Billingham's not happy with something that's going on. Lasswade's still in possession. This is good stuff from them. But it's taken to the ground. It goes to ground. No, it doesn't. The ball carrier's still on his feet. Clark. Oh, he's unchallenged. And he steps outside Barber there just to score his second try for the afternoon. Gavin Brown to the left of the stick, same as the last one. And the same result. So Lasswade getting our 7 points on the board there. Davis throwing in on Lasswade's 22. Ball's taken by Barber. Lasswade forwards driving them back. Haddington's got the momentum going forward though. Crichton. Ball comes back to Monu. Oh, lovely angle there. Well, ball comes back inside to Hercus. Pops the ball up to Crichton, the scrum half. And Richard Crichton's going to go over with the help of his forwards, I think, and he does. He scores a try to the left-hand side of the post. So Haddington's back on their score sheet. It's tit for tat this afternoon. And the Haddington backs have been pretty effective. Neil Watt taking the conversion, the captain himself. And make sure the kicking record's intact for Haddington. That's 5 out of 5 now. Lasswade scrum in their own 22. Brown picks up. Ball comes to Gladstone. Breaks the first tackle. Pumps the legs. Still driving forward. Lasswade still going forward though. And Dale Robertson breaks the first tackle. Takes 2 to bring him down. And Neil Clark picks up. He goes to... Oh, but he was taken out there. I think that was Weil and Laidlaw. And he played the player illegally while he was lying on the ground as well. But the referee's not seen it, I don't think. And Blackwood takes a quick one. And it's Turnbull that's crashing on. And Blackwood goes in at 9. But Scott Tomlinson's blown up. And the Lasswade forwards are pretty frustrated by what they've just seen. Lasswade definitely in possession and going places, but Scott Tomlinson's called across Alan Laidlaw. And I think it's something to do with that infringement where he tripped up Neil Clark at the base of the ruck, and he's just, for his troubles, he's digging a yellow card out, and he goes to warm a seat up in the stand for 10 minutes. That's Haddington down to 14 men. Lasswade scrum inside Haddington's 22. Clark pops the ball in. It's a good scrum for Lasswade there. Passes out to Gladstone, and Gladstone's a missed move, and Niall Gray pops up on the right hand side of the pitch. He's wrapped up by the opposition though and goes to ground. Lasswade recycle, and it's back out to Goggs, and Lasswade recycle again. Clark pops it to Blackwood. Blackwood to Mark Wilson. Mark Wilson escapes the clutches of Crichton, and he's going to get round the edge outside of Mark Morrison as well, and he scores a try. And that sorely needed just before the break. Mark Wilson gets himself on the scoreboard. And can Gavin Brown add the extras? The answer is yes, he can. Takes the half-time score to Lasswade 21, Haddington 27. Lasswade line out, Dylan Turnbull throws the ball in. Taken by Heron. Consolidate. Lasswade still getting the drive on. Haddington's not letting them go anywhere. That's a great counter-attack from Haddington. And Dale Robertson takes the ball in and goes to ground. Lasswade still in possession. Goodness knows how, but I think Scott Tomlinson's decided somebody wasn't retreating when they were coming around the other side of the ball. So this is an opportunity, I think, for Lasswade. They're going to go for the post, I think. Yeah, they are. Gavin Brown's got the ball in hand. And Gav Brown, can he take it to 24 points? Strikes it nicely. Oh, that's a fair kick actually, and he can as well, so it's now Haddington 27, Lasswade 24. Haddington in possession here on Lasswade's 10 metre line. Ball's coming out on Haddington players. Crichton's digging it out. I was looking for it anyway. Crichton to Nick Bell. Bell tries to go himself, gets wrapped up though. Goes to ground. Haddington still in possession. Bell takes it up to Davis. He's a Burley character, this. And that's Haddington still in possession yet. And they're almost up to... Oh, it's a massive counter-attack there from Dale Robertson. I think he decided that it was time that Haddington's momentum came to a halt. And Scott Tomlinson's having a wee chat with him. But I don't think he can be too critical on him there. Just probably tell him just to calm it down a wee bit. Oh, it looks as though he's actually had a yellow card. And I think Dale can be quite disappointed with that. And Gav Brown can't actually believe it either, I don't think. Haddington just inside their own half. Ball comes back to Davis. Davis takes it up middle of the field. And Crichton's there, but Scott Tomlinson's blown up again, saying that Haddington's not releasing in the tackle. And this is another opportunity just inside Haddington's half for potentially Gavin Brown to get 3 points more on the board. The wind is blowing right down the centre of the park from left to right at the moment, and if he hits it straight enough, the wind will carry it over. He's having Mark Billingham there to steady the ball, so that gives you an idea how unstable and windy it is. So Gavin Brown, can he level the scores at 27-all? Steadies himself. He's given that a fair lick. And that looks as if there's no issue there at all. That's right between the sticks, and it's now level pegging. Lasswade 27, Haddington 27. Haddington in possession, trying to counter-attack out of their own 22. Ball comes out to Watt, but he's tied up and goes to ground. Haddington forwards turn up, but Scott Tomlinson says that they're going over the top and they're not staying on their feet. So yet again another opportunity for Lasswade to get 3 points on the board just outside Haddington's 22. And the way Gav Brown's kicking at the moment, he's had 5 from 5 so far. Can he make 6 out of 6? I don't know who's more nervous, Mark Billingham or Gavin Brown at this stage. He struck it. I think that one's pulled to the left. Oh, it hits the post and bounces off. Haddington's now got it back in possession, but they cleared to touch. And it hasn't made touch. Mark Wilson, a wee chip. A wee opportunist chip it is on. It's lovely. A wee chip and bounce, and it's gone out just 5 metres out. It's a great opportunity for Lasswade. Attacking line out here. Heron takes the ball. Lasswade forwards consolidate. Gavin Brown in possession. Neil Clark just about to dig it out. Oh, there's a gaping wound in Haddington's defence, and Neil Clark doesn't need half an opportunity like that to make it 5 points, and he crashes over again for what has to be his third try in the afternoon. He'll no doubt be on the jugs, and I'm sure the boys won't let him forget that either later on in the clubhouse. Crucial kick here for Gavin Brown in the closing stages of this match. Can he add the extras? He strikes that well, and it shaves its way inside the post, and it's another 2 points, so it takes the score to 34-27. Lasswade in the lead. Closing stages of the game now. Lasswade got their own line out inside their own 22. Dylan Turnbull with the ball in hand, and Scott Tomlinson just sorting their forwards out and separating them into 2 lots. Turnbull down to Heron. Heron still with the ball in possession, but they go to ground, and is the ball still on the pitch? Yes, it is, but Neil Clark puts it beyond doubt and sticks it off the pitch because he knows Scott Tomlinson's just blown up, and brings the match to a conclusion where Lasswade have won 34 points to 27. For Lasswade, they bagged some crucial points in eating into the gap between themselves and 5th spot Wanderers. This brings hopefully a welcome shot in the arm of confidence to the Lasswade team, who take on 4th place Whitequayam in a fortnight. Haddington though looked as though they were running away with this game in the first 30 minutes, with some lovely running from John Monu and support play from Richie Crichton. But they were punished by the penalty count against them in the second half, and I think fell victim of Gav Brown's impeccable kicking display. For them, the disparity continues at Nelson Park as they have to go and search for points elsewhere. So that's it from Hawthorn Den, and from me and the LRTV team, it's goodbye from us and see you next time.